All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back with the Sunday Night Football Showdown edition. Got my guy Hamwich with me. I'm Nades, bringing you the winners here on this Sunday afternoon. Got the main slate teams in. Got Red Zone on the television. Hamwich, I see you cheering on some your boys over there. How we doing, man? How's your Sunday been? How's your weekend been? What's going on?
Yeah, been a great weekend. Watching some baseball. Braves 8-0 yesterday, and watching some games today. So it should be a good day. Looking forward to tonight. We got the marquee matchup. Got a great game tonight. Should be a good one. Should be fun to talk through it, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, got a doozy on our hands here. Two very, very good defenses. Some very good offensive pieces in this game as well. Sitting at a 45 total. San Fran currently favored right now by 3.5. Here, it's going to be an interesting one. We got to talk through it. Obviously, got some expensive pieces, right? Christian McCaffrey seems like this dude just obviously is the best player in the league right now. He continues to absolutely smash, posting 50-point DraftKings games here. But when you talk captain, he is 17-7. You could argue back in the Tyreek, right, Miami game, Tyreek was up at 19K at the captain position. Mahomes has been up there. Christian McCaffrey at 17-7 here. Definitely a little discount there. So we'll talk through that. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys are watching. Helps us out a ton. And in the comment section, obviously, this is a recorded show. It is not a live show here. Drop in the comments your predicted score of the game, your final score. If you do hit the right score, we will look at that. We will give you a free month to SHIPITNation.com here, courtesy of us. And go ahead and also post your favorite captain plays, some of your favorite plays in the chat as well. We definitely take a look at those, and always like to see those as well here. Hamwich, I will bring you in right away. Let's talk captains. Then we'll go flex, play some lower owned game theory approach, and get on out of here. Try and keep this to 20, 30 minutes here. Give the people what they want in a short period of time. Less small talk, more slate talk is how we say. Give them what they need. Let's talk captains first. We'll start on, obviously, the talking point, right? Christian McCaffrey seems coming in about 20 to 25% ownership right now at the captain position. Again, he is just 17-7 at that price point up there in the captain spot when you throw him up there. He's had decent success against Dallas here. Nothing crazy by any means. Is kind of hindering here. Most expensive captain, obviously. Then you got Tony Pollard. You got CeeDee Lamb. I actually like CeeDee Lamb quite a bit here. Even if it is a low-scoring game like we see in last game between these guys was 19-12, right? With a San Fran victory there in that divisional matchup there, I believe. Where are you going at the captain position here? Definitely interesting plays. You got the quarterbacks, both priced below, right? The Tony Pollards, the CeeDee Lambs, and the McCaffreys. Where are you going here?
Yeah, I think this game is going to be the captain anyway. I'm going to be looking in the upper tier, upper echelon players. And my favorite captain of the day is going to be CeeDee Lamb. I like him a little bit better than Christian McCaffrey or Tony Pollard. I think those are the three most viable. I really like CeeDee Lamb. Played well against this Niners team last year in the playoffs, the last game out. I do know Tony Pollard was well on his way to a good game before he got hurt, but CeeDee Lamb, 10 catches, over 100 yards. I think that's doable again. And when the chips are on the table, Dak Prescott's going to look to CeeDee Lamb. I think that's the way you beat this Niners team is through the air, and I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be my favorite captain. Really like him tonight. I also like Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard going to do it in the ground. He's going to do it through the air. And the thing with Tony Pollard, he hasn't really had that blow-up game this year. It's because this Cowboys team is just beating people so badly, and he's going to play a full game tonight. So I really like Tony Pollard, and then Christian McCaffrey would be my favorite Niner. My favorite Niner as it relates to the captain tonight for them.
Yeah, no, definitely interesting takes, kind of standard. We're locked down on arm. CeeDee Lamb is by far my favorite captain, projected to be 8 to 10% ownership in the captain spot. And the best thing about CeeDee Lamb is he doesn't need the touchdowns, right? He's not touchdown dependent. So a site like DraftKings, right, where PPR points rack up that 100-yard bonus like he did in that playoffs. I see a similar game, maybe 10, 120, 130, and maybe one, right? And if he does that, he's definitely going to outscore the rest, or actually, especially with the discounted ownership or the discounted salary there at the captain spot, be the opto captain. That's what we're going for here. I do like CeeDee Lamb quite a bit at the captain spot. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, I get it, right? Dallas is a great defense overall. Very good against the run as well. Best team in the league actually through this point in the season in terms of against the run. They obviously, the Dallas, where you target Dallas is against the tight end position. So I actually like George Kittle quite a bit up at the captain spot as well. I love George Kittle in games where San Francisco is in competitive ball games, right? And this is one of them. So I love Kittle's my second favorite captain by far. I think I even put Kittle at the discounted salary over Christian McCaffrey. So my top two captains are definitely CeeDee Lamb, number one, George Kittle, number two, and then I will go Christian McCaffrey just by default, number three. I'm a little bit lower on Tony Pollard in the captain spot. I get it. I would much rather just save the 300, go with CeeDee Lamb. I think Dallas is going to have to throw the ball here. San Fran's very strong up front. You can run on them a little bit. They're kind of middle of the pack in terms of run so far, running backs against them so far on the season. So Tony Pollard would probably be my distant fourth captain. A little bit under on the quarterbacks here. I'm not a big fan of quarterback captains outside of like the Josh Allens or the Jalen Hurts. So don't think I'm going to have any Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott up in the captain spot. So pretty much the captain pool for me is just those four. Sure, you can take a stab in MME on Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, some of those guys, but really it's those four, and mainly the three for me in CeeDee Lamb, number one, George Kittle, number two, and McCaffrey, number three. Go ahead and rank your top couple captains. We'll jump into some flex plays then.
Yeah, I would say CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, we're arm in arm in there. CeeDee Lamb is my favorite captain. Tony Pollard is my number two. McCaffrey is my third, and then I actually like Dak tonight as a long shot, $500,000 type of play, longer shot, getting Dak. Maybe running one in, like you said. I mean, we typically want running quarterbacks in that captain spot. He hasn't shown it this year. I mean, he's obviously had the gruesome injury a couple years ago. But, if he runs one in, gets 20 yards, this is a good defense. And so, they got the receivers locked up and he runs one in. I think that's viable. So Dak would be my fourth. And I'm with you. I would cut it off. after those four. And Kittle's an okay play too. Yeah,
I do like Kittle quite a bit. I love him in competitive games. And, yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. For all you people out there that played the Saints defense, they started that game there with a little pick six off of Mr. Mac Jones there. I know Saints were projected to be the highest on defense, at least coming in. Not that it was crazy ownership or anything. I had quite a bit of Saints defense myself. So nice to see them get that one on the board early there against Mac Jones. But let's jump into the flex plays here. Obviously, the same kind of guys carry over into the flex here, just sorting by salary. Looking down, DraftKings has been pricing these kickers up a little bit, right? And these defenses, but now tonight the defenses are 3,400 for that very, very, very high-powered defense in Dallas, who takes a lot of chances, right? Gets a lot of score. There's 3,400, and then the Niners defense, who is very, very strong as well, right? 4K. You got Brandon Aubrey there at the kicker spot, 4,200. So the defense is actually priced below the kickers here. Which is definitely an interesting piece. And then Jake Moody sitting at 4,400. I typically like the home kickers a little bit better. So Jake Moody just naturally a little bit better in terms of my interests, but definitely hit on that piece. Talking on some of the cheapies, Deuce Vaughn's been worked in a little bit. Don't have a ton of interest in those guys. Really no interest for me personally in a lot of these cheap guys down here. Don't want to mess with the Tolberts, the Turpins, the Kyle Juszczyk, those guys. Ray McLeod, any of those. So pretty much for me, it's trying to stay defenses above on this slate. Jake Ferguson at 5K, I think he's been very, very, very involved in this offense. He was a great college tight end as well. Dallas has used him a lot, obviously with the Dalton Schultz trade. They saw life in Jake Ferguson here. He stepped right in, picking up right kind of where Dalton Schultz left off last year. So I do like Jake Ferguson. He's 5K flat. So for me, that's kind of why I like the Kittle captain build, right? Because it avoids you having to go down to a lot of these cheapies, which is very, very uncertain, right? The Juszczyks, the Ronnie Bells, the Jordan Masons, Deuce Vaughns, Rico Dowell, those guys. So hit on that. Where are you going at the flex position here? Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, Brendan Ayuk's been playing really well, and obviously Trayvon Diggs is out for the season, so I think he could have another big game. Purdy has been looking his way, and Debo just hasn't really gotten there as a receiver yet this year. A little banged up, and Ayuk, 2 TDs first game against the Steelers, and had a monster game last week. So I like Ayuk, and then in the mid tier, I like those 2 other receivers for the Cowboys, Michael Gallup, who played well, 2 games ago in the desert, then had a couple catches last week, and then Brandon Cooks. I mean, this is the reason why they got Brandon Cooks for big games like this. Go opposite of CeeDee Lamb, take some of the pressure off him. So I would look there, and then with me wanting to play so many guys that are in the top tier, the McCaffreys, the Pollards, and the Lamb, I think we're going to have to get down there in the lower range, and they're not fun names to click on. But 2 that caught my eye this week was Luke Schoonmaker, backup tight end out of Michigan. Peyton Hendershot is out for this game, so Schoonmaker saw a little bit more run last week. I mean, he is $300. He's $200, so don't mind him as a flex if you needed it. And then also Ray McLeod. Ray McLeod, he's $200 as well. Depends on what Jawan Jennings. I think Jawan Jennings is going to be back, but for some reason he's banged up. I don't mind Ray McLeod at $200 either, but that would only be, if Jawan Jennings is out.
Yeah, no, that's definitely obviously you're going to have to come down here, especially if you do the McCaffrey captain builds, right? You're going to have to come down to some of these guys. I do think Luke Schoonmaker is a decent option. I'm just pulling up seeing what it looks like in terms of his targets on the year. Only 1 target, right? He got that touchdown against the Jets in the first game there. Had a target in Arizona, didn't do anything with it. Had 3 targets last week against New England. So they're definitely getting him in there. I haven't looked at his routes run, but just looking at his snaps real quick. Let me just pull it up. In terms of snap count, Schoonmaker played 56% of the snaps last week, right? Him and Ferguson both played 56% of the snaps. So he's out there. I haven't looked in the actual route run percentage of those snaps, but he's at least on the field. He's $200. You could definitely do worse if he does like what he did in week 1, right? $200 catches that tight end, gets you 8 points. Probably a pretty good chance, especially if McCaffrey and the top end guys like we have on the slate, right? The CeeDee Lambs, the McCaffreys, Dak, Ayuk, right? The Tony Pollards, you have expensive guys that you want to play, volume guys that you're going to get to work. All it takes is 1 catch for this guy, a touchdown. He's showing it against the Jets, had 3 targets last week, didn't do anything with them. I think they could definitely get him more involved here. So $200, you can definitely do worse. He'd probably be my favorite punt option there. So I am with you in that one. Don't think it's actually crazy to run a Ferguson and Schoonmaker in the same team. Don't love it, but it's Showdown. It's a 1-game sample size. I do like Jake Ferguson a lot, right? 7 for 77 last week. Didn't have a touchdown, 15 points, 5 targets for or 7 targets, 5 catches for 48 the week before that. 4 targets, 3 catches for 11, but I had a touchdown against the Jets. So very, very, very involved in this offense. I love him a lot at 5K. He's going to get ownership, but everyone's going to get ownership on the slate. 5K is a very nice price point. Much prefer him over the Michael Gallup and even the Brandon Cooks. But Brandon Cooks, I do think, is definitely a sleeper in this game because, like you said, you're right. They went out and got Brandon Cooks here for big games like this, games that they need to win. And they definitely want to win this game, especially in San Fran here. Brandon Cooks has done really well against San Fran in the past. Obviously, different system, different scenario. So take that for what it's worth. But he's projected to be right around 20% ownership, give or take. And I think he could definitely be a home run guy, right? All it takes is one play for a guy like Brandon Cooks, right? A burner catches that bomb, and you're kind of there. So I do like that. Do you have interest in these kickers? What's your take on these kickers and these defenses here in kind of this mid tier? Because again, I do think the mid tier build is my favorite build here. That's kind of why I'm looking at the Kittle captain. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't mind either defense, but the Cowboys defense at 3,400. I mean, they have TD upside, right? And that's what we love when we pick these defenses. I mean, 3,400. I mean, their pass rush is elite. I mean, their whole defense is top tier. With Diggs going down, it bumps them down a little bit, but they're elite. 49ers, great defense as well. So don't mind either one of those. And then the kickers, I mean, how is this game going to get played out? Is it going to get played out between the 20s? Then we're going to kick field goals, or is it going to come down to touchdowns? I think that's what you ultimately have to decide. But definitely don't mind the defenses. I would put the Cowboys defense, above the 49ers, and then I would put them above Jake Moody and Brandon Aubrey as well, just based on price. I think you're going to need that salary just because I'm going to be playing the top end guys tonight.
So I do want to say one thing that sticks out to me on Brandon Aubrey is his projection right now as it sits around the industry, sitting at like between 8.5 and 9.5. I think you can put that about 10.5, 11. If number one, Mike McCarthy absolutely loves kicking field goals. I mean, look at Brandon Aubrey's game logs, 10, 18, 11, 12. So you're telling me he's projected below that, and his average on the season is way higher than what his projection's at. San Fran, definitely a good defense. Same thing with Dallas. You can definitely see Dallas moving the field, right? Tony Pollard busts her off a run. CeeDee Lamb gets loose, catches a pass, works his way down the field. Brandon Cooks gets a deep ball, and they get inside the 30-yard line, right? Kind of get stalled out. Field goal. Same thing, field goal. They start score, right? You got the extra points. I like Brandon Aubrey quite a bit in this game here. I actually prefer him a little bit to Jake Moody, but Jake Moody, same thing, 14, 14, 12, 5 last week against Arizona. But both of these kickers are good. Both of these teams kick field goals. Obviously, San Fran has been scoring a ton of points. So he's got the extra points baked in there too, but they'll settle for field goals. So in a game where I think personally plays a little bit under, I definitely like the kickers and defenses in this game. So I like both the kickers quite a bit here. I'm typically been a little bit under on defenses. So I've been getting crushed in Showdown, as obviously defenses have been the tight ends of last year in Showdowns here, but two great defenses here priced in that, and they fit the build structure on the slate that I'm looking at, right? I'm trying not to go below that Cowboys defense at 3,400 there. I don't even love Juwan Jennings at 3,800. I think he's an easy cross-off spot. I just don't mess with these kind of role players too much on San Fran when it's so focused around Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, and Kittle, really. I think too many people mess around with these Kyle Juszczyks, the Jordan Masons, right? The Juwan Jennings, those guys that I think those are just easy cross-offs for me personally. On the San Fran side, just focus on those 4 guys and Brock Purdy and the kicker and the defense on San Fran. And then Dallas is kind of the same way, right? Tony Pollard, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Ferguson, you got the kicker, and then you got Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks really outside of that. And then obviously the punt down there, Shoemaker, I do have a little interest in. So the nice thing about both these teams is it is pretty condensed. It's not like the Chiefs or the Giants that we've had as of late, where they have wide receiver roulette, 6, 7 different guys that you never know where the ball is going to go. It's pretty condensed on both these teams. So I do like that. What are you looking at in terms of 3-3, 5-1s? I personally think it plays like a closer, little more kind of similar to that playoff battle that we watched last year, where it was 19 to 12 kind of defenses in this game. Possession guys kind of got there. So I think 3-3, 4-2. 3-3 is definitely probably going to be the popular route on the slate. I've always been a 4-2 guy, probably similar to this slate. I'm going to be leaning 4-2. That's just how I am. But I don't think 5-1s are personally in play for me on this slate. I don't see either one of these teams coming out here and just absolutely stomping them. If I did, it would be with San Fran 5-1s, just because they look so dominant. They are at home here, and Dallas has been known to show up like they did against Arizona, right, and get punched in the mouth, and that's absolutely laid an egg with McCarthy there running the ship. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, mainly 3-3s for me. I don't mind a 2-4 or 4-2. I'm not going to do a full onslaught of a 1-5 or a 5-1. I just think it's going to be a closer game, just like you said. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a great game, and I think you're going to need pieces from both sides, and I think you're going to need to use most of your salary tonight just based on, like you said, the upper echelon players are going to show up and show out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think this is a slate where you're not going to be leaving a ton of salary on the table. Obviously, that's one way to get unique in Showdown, which is always what the goal is, right? There's $500K up top tonight. If you can get a little $500K in your pocket, right, a little unique build that gets there, you're never going to complain about that. But I do think this is a game that I just ran. I ran 150 kind of teams, and there's a lot of 3-3s and a ton of McCaffrey captain, obviously with his projection, right? Just naturally, the ownership, everyone. So look, a lot of these builds are going McCaffrey captain with the possession guy, right? CeeDee Lamb, going with a kicker and going with the quarterback kind of route. Some defenses are popping in there, but it's a ton of 3-3s and 4-2s, which makes sense. So 5-1 is definitely going to be a contrarian route. Personally, if you want a way to be different, you can definitely do that. I lean 5-1 San Fran side, but you can see anything happen in a one-game sample here. I think we hit on everything pretty good. Pretty condensed at the captain spot. In the flex, I like that mid-tier. Don't like going below the kickers and the defenses personally. Any final thoughts for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we covered it for the most part. You're gonna need to use the best players, and hopefully you're unique and take home a $500,000. It'd be a nice way to end the Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, these are brought to you by SHIPIT.com. Throw this up on the screen real here. 5-day trial. You can get in, get all of our premium access, a little taste of our premium content. Check it all out before you do ultimately, hopefully sign up, which we do think is the best price for all-in rate in the industry. NHL is right around the corner. Open a day, 2 days away. I will be heading up the NHL content. NBA shortly here coming as well. I know the PGA Fall Swing here is back in business. Tambo and the guys have you covered in that. MMA title with an incredible call last night in MMA. He's got all that. Slate plan. Obviously, playoff baseball, we still have you covered there in terms of cores, all that up on the website. So $19, head over to SHIPIT.com, gets you access to all of that. And again, obviously, you guys are watching this back on replay. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Good luck tonight in your contest. Hopefully, your main slates are going good for NFL here, enjoying some cold beverages, pizza, wings, whatever you have, some family, friends, watching football on the TV. Can't beat it. Good luck tonight in your contest. For Hamwich, I am Nades. Let's ship it.